Olympian, Madison Hughes. Madison, what did you think of GB last week?
Very impressed by GB last weekend. The season hasn't gone the way they'll have wanted, but they stepped up. They showed that they're still capable of those levels, and they'll want to really follow on this weekend in Vancouver. Got a big opportunity. They know if they beat Uruguay in this match, they've got a strong chance of making it to the quarterfinals, and that's something they'll be eyeing. And on the 7 series, if you can pair together good performances weekend after weekend, that's where you can build momentum. For Uruguay, they got the same thing. If they can beat GB in this game, it gets very exciting for them.
Yeah, how about the subtext? They are 4 points on the standings as it stands ahead of Spain, who are currently in that relegation bracket for that Final Four shootout at the end of the season. The likes of Paulo Duarte are going to be on their money, aren't they? Because every game has something riding on it. Middle of the table, top of the table, bottom of the table is high-stakes stuff.
Incredibly tense, and in these spots just above that relegation, I mean, the last thing you want is to be going into London, getting in the mix for those relegation spots. So being able to just stay slightly above it, so important, and making one quarterfinal could be the difference.
Here we go, men's competition about to get started. The 200th event in HSBC World Rugby 7 Series history, and it's Pool C to get us started with Uruguay early possession. The South Americans, rookies of course, a core nation on the Sevens World Series, and they've done really well to stay in the top 11. As things stand, they will be back full-time next season, but of course, we're only halfway through the series. Plenty of points on offer. And a good start from them, good early possession and a good carry first up. That was Baltazar Amaya, Ardao the captain, but that ball has gone forward in contact. It'll be a scrum to Great Britain, but the South Americans showing what they can do with the ball in hand.
Yeah, moving forward, Uruguay were incredibly impressive last weekend. They got the bigger win against South Africa, but actually they almost went 3-0 in their pool. A last-second try was the loss to Ireland, and then an unfortunate loss, I think it was Japan in their last game. So they were very close to go 3-0 in their pool. They did a very good job. They were moving the ball around quite well, but just playing simple, patient attack, going through phases, and they were doing that well there. GB defense standing firm in the end there.
Head-to-head this season, Uruguay lead at 2-0. Hong Kong and Dubai, they got the better of Great Britain, but Great Britain have been slowly but surely getting into their stride this season, and there's a nice offload to Tom Emery, and the Englishman will pick up the first points in the men's draw here at the Canada Sevens 2023.
Great work there by Robbie Ferguson. Ferguson has set Emery free, and it's for Uruguay though. That was way too simple. One pass out here. Good bit of footwork from Ferguson, but then just spots the gap, slides through, and then it's that inside trailing Uruguayan defender allows Emery to get away from him, and then he has the pace to finish in the corner. And GB, I think they'll be pleased with this start to this game. They were simple, composed in defense, absorbed some pressure, they were going backwards, but then forced a mistake. Now they've had the ball, one phase, they've scored. So showing they can build, and that's exactly what the start they'll have wanted. Build some confidence and be able to start their way into this tournament in a good way.
How tough do you think it's been, Madison, for this GB team coming together? Scotland, Wales, England, 3 nations reforming in line with the Olympic cycle. It felt like it was always going to take a bit of time for them this season.
Definitely. I mean, you got an experienced core, but you're bringing teams together who are used to playing in very different ways. And now I think you've also got kind of the off-field issues and bringing together the different union dynamics and all those kind of infrastructural things. And I think those will take some time to sort out. But yeah, hopefully it'll be great to see GB competing at the top of the series again.
More possession for the British team here. There's Ferguson again, who came up with a try assist a little earlier. Straight off the deck that time from one of the new players. Well, new-ish in this team, Ethan Waddleton. He's been out with injury for a long time. Great to see him back in the 11 shirt. Nice feet here this time from Jamie Barden. And the Englishmen are getting it done at the moment for Great Britain. There's 2 tries in 2 minutes.
Jamie Barden straightening out the attack really well. I think the Uruguayan defense was just assuming he was going to pass this ball wide. They're sliding out, and when he straightens up, the inside trailing defense isn't there. But there wasn't much of a gap there, but made it happen, puts GB on the board and continues to extend this lead.
Yeah, age grade player with the Harlequins club in London, Jamie Barden.
UK having success when they're being direct with their attackers going forward. Uruguay, their defense was good last weekend. They were quite impressive, but so far I think they'll be really disappointed with those 2 tries, as they haven't really forced GB to do anything particularly complicated yet.
Great to see. We got some of the local players. The Canadian team have arrived. We've got all the school kids in this morning. Thousands of them have been given tickets to come and enjoy the morning session here. Day 1 of 3 with the Vancouver Sevens. Winning hearts and minds. And there's an error again from Uruguay. So it'll be another scrum feed here to Great Britain. This pool, of course, also includes Fiji and Kenya, who come up next.
Yeah, it's going to be a really intriguing pool. You've got those 3 teams. I think it's 10, 11, 13 in the standings. So all right around each other, all know that if they're the team that takes either, yes, well, Fiji are on form, so one of those quarterfinal spots, they'll be in good shape.
Talk us through this. We've got a couple of players right behind the scrum here.
Yeah, so it makes it difficult for Uruguay to fully set their defense, and as GB flow, you can see they've already got the man extra. Didn't quite keep enough depth to move the pass out. If they'd been able to do that, they would have been probably in, but it just creates that uncertainty and it makes it difficult for the defense to line you up very well.
There's Ethan Waddleton with the carry. He's just route 1 all day. Waddleton, Davis at scrum half, Ferguson now, the captain. There's the cutout ball, and they'll get him on the outside, and it's Max McFarland, who just loves playing rugby sevens in this part of the world. Magic Max has his first try this weekend.
McFarland with just far too much pace, hits onto the ball. This is a really good miss pass. Robbie Ferguson been really impressive for GB in this first half. But for Uruguay, they'll be really disappointed. Nothing going their way right now. From that first kickoff, they took the first kickoff well, we're moving down the field, but since then it's been absolutely all GB. And GB have done a really fantastic job just doing the simple things very effectively, being direct, and then when the space is on out wide, moving it quickly into those wide channels. And they're having a lot of success, and really been a dream start to this tournament so far for them, and exactly what they'll have wanted after last weekend.
Yeah, break through the 100 barrier at the Sydney Sevens did Max McFarland. Good to see him in try-scoring form for Great Britain. More autographs being signed and selfies taken by the Canadian men's team, who are in the house here at BC Place, their home tournament. Great thrill for them to be on home turf in front of their home support. Here's McFarland again. He's got the tights on today on this artificial surface. Penalty. Ferguson will go quick. He's got Colleen Barreto with him. He might not need him. Barden to his left, 5 meters out. Looking for a 4th try here. RGB Barreto. Oh, a little pirouette. Colleen Barreto. Barreto.
Barreto going in every direction. I think he was initially looking for the pass out wide, saw it wasn't on, came back, sliding through a gap, and then, yeah, the little spin move to score in the corner. You can see here, he realizes nothing on, and Uruguay again just sliding underneath. You need to keep your defenders next to each other. When you're folding underneath, you can see the Arcos Pérez just goes in behind, and that opens up the gap for Barreto. And then, yeah, the nice footwork to score and extend the lead for GB, and been a fantastic first half for them. And they'll have the conversion. They'll take it with 4 times up, so we'll still see this kickoff.
Yeah, conversion makes it as well. One-way traffic at the moment. He scored a brilliant try at the Sydney Sevens as well, which got them into the Cup quarterfinals of that tournament. It has been an upward curve since then. As I said, best ever performance on the series so far. LA last week. They topped their group, finished 6th. Top 4 automatic Olympic qualification, of course, is the goal for all these sides. Long way to go for GB in that context this season, but in this game, they are feeling the good stuff, and McFarland will just stop, go, and score his 2nd.
Wow, one-way traffic right now. GB just disrupting kickoff here, getting the ball, and then there are just gaps opening up, huge gaps in the middle of the Uruguayan defense. It's hard to reset. You're going to see 4 Uruguayans to the left of the ball carry there, while GB are just queuing up. Simple pass and catch. Make it look simple at least, and McFarland is in the corner.
Yeah, born in Ireland, but qualified for Scotland for his grandfather. There's Max McFarland. Yeah, try time. So, GB will just look to add an extra couple of points here before half-time. Won't make it, but no bother. 31-0 in their opener in Pool C over Uruguay. Well, stats don't lie, do they, Madison? On this occasion, they're pretty pretty easy to understand. Uruguay struggling to get into this contest.
Yeah, Uruguay just not able to do anything really in that game there. Sorry, in that half there. Really all one-way traffic. You can see 6 missed tackles to 8 tackles. So missing almost as many as they're making. And GB have had the bulk of the possession really since that passage of play. Uruguay not able to get a cohesive defensive line. But GB, to give credit to them, have been direct in attack and then hit onto the ball well in the wide channels. And I think that's meant that when Uruguay have been disrupted, when they've got disorganized in defense, GB have not allowed them to recover in any way.
And there's the main man, the main try-scoring threat, Max McFarland. Here's Ivo Dugoncic, the head coach of the Uruguayan team. I want to just forget about that half and come out in the second period looking to change things around. Double Olympic gold medalist on deck in the next match. Fiji, slightly new look side. Ben Gollings has brought in some new players like Kanavalu there in the 16 shirt. Very excited he is about this development program they've installed in the Fijian Islands here. They'll get there is Ben Gollings, all-time leading point scorer on the HSBC World Rugby 7 series. But right here, right now, it's Great Britain 31-0 leading Uruguay. We're back underway, second half. Chasing for Uruguay is James McCubbin, and a chance here to change things around in this second period. There's the offload off the deck, and the South Americans here have had a chat at the break. I thought we're going to come out here in the second half and at least try and close this gap. And here they go. They got some numbers. Here's the captain, Diego Ardao. Big numbers. All they need to do is shift it and run it in, and they will score. It'll be Baltazar Amaya who will dive into the corner, and that is just the response they were looking for.
Uruguay coming out ready to play in this second half. And it was interesting, GB was set up for the kickoff about 45 seconds to a minute before Uruguay, who were exhorting in the huddle that they needed to change things up, and change things up they did right from that kickoff, just bringing in intensity we didn't see in that first half, and that's something they had all of last week. So I think they'll look back on this game and reflect on, not to say they can't come back, but on what might have been if they've been able to bring that from the first second. But at the beginning of the second half, showing an intensity, showing an urgency, and yeah, still plenty of time to go. So they need to keep bringing that, need more of that, need more of that energy and that directiveness for the rest of this game and the rest of this tournament.
As you mentioned, they're 4 points ahead of Spain on the overall standings in 11th place. As Ferguson is lifted high by Waddleton to bring it down safely. Barden flings it off the deck to Emery, who got a try in the first half, as did Kalim Barreto here, who's got the twinkling feet out already. And here's McFarland. He's on a hat-trick. It's Max McFarland, and he'll open the second half with a triple for Great Britain. He loves scoring hat-tricks in Canada.
Uruguay, player.
And he's got another one.
McFarland, Barreto firstly does really well there. It's a nice little loop play that gets the Uruguayan defense sliding to the left, and then they have to recover and are coming back to the right. And McFarland spots that gap in the defense, sees that the inside defender is flagging, and when he's in open space, it's really difficult to track down. Does a fantastic job getting to the line, and a great response from GB. They did so well. Everything went their way in the first half. When they had that bit of adversity at the beginning of the second, had some key players step up there, get them back on the board, and allow them to settle into this game.
Emery, he'll dink it off the right-hand upright for another couple of points, and yeah, Max has earned himself a rest. 3 tries in the bag. Smile on the dial, nicely done. Different team when he's feeling it, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a live wire on the outside. I think just opens up opportunities for other players on this team, because the defense has to slide across and cover him in a way, and if they don't, he's going to make you pay. So such a deadly threat on the outside for GB, and when they've got those, when you've got that winger who's in form, who's confident, who's playing well, it just really opens it up for everyone else.
Facciolo in 11 is out there For Uruguay, he was a dream teamer earlier this season. They did start with a real bang. They beat Great Britain, of course, in Hong Kong in the tournament opener, their first as a core nation. Ball's gone forward. Barreto's back for GB. Hit hard, though, by Iruleguy. There's Will Homer, who's at scrum half. Thinks about the short side. He'll give it to Freddie Roddick, who gets away from the defence. Roddick just buys a bit of time up over the halfway line. He's got Homer with him, who bridges this breakdown. There's Morgan Williams. Good counter ruck. No, legally done, says the referee.
You cannot grab, no. The other one.
Good response from GB. They're really broken up by that loose pass, but able to get back in numbers, get the turnover. And then Roddick, yeah, one-on-one with the sweeper, just chooses to buy time and wait for his support. Uruguay, again, bringing that intensity in the breakdown, and that's kind of what they need to do. They need to bring that energy and really take the game to GB in a way they haven't been able to much in this one. GB seem to be just settling down, content to kind of slow this second half down, conserve some energy, and yeah, take the game to the final whistle with the healthy lead.
Some changes coming here. Eugenio Plottier is coming on the 15 shirt. There he is. It's his 6th World Series event. Most of these players haven't played many, to be fair. They are a new core nation, of course. They won that Challenger Series in Santiago in Chile to win their full-time status on the series. Of course, Uruguay will be at the 15-a-side World Cup as well, alongside Chile, alongside Argentina, South America. What's going on north of the border, Madison?
South American rugby, especially on the 15s, has really stepped up. I mean, Uruguay doing well in 7s as well, but yeah, North American 15s not been the best year or two, unfortunately. But hopefully it sets you up for a long-term comeback, we'll say.
Now, of course, USA will be hosting the 15-a-side Rugby World Cup.
Space.
Men and women. But Great Britain here at 38-5 can just go through the motions here to close this one out. There's Waddleton with another carry. Barreto again. Roddick. Williams. There's Roddick on the wraparound. Ball goes to floor. That fine detail coaches will be looking at this sort of moment with a healthy lead. They'll just want everything to be on point. Counter ruck from Uruguay. Homer's under a bit of pressure. Will Homer's brother Tom, very familiar player in English rugby circles and the English Premiership. Barreto's shot down at his own 22. That's good defence from
No leg.
Valentin Grille for Uruguay. Roddick again, he's been dangerous since he's come on. There's the new player, Nathan Greenwood from the Newcastle Falcons, out there in 14. But here's Williams again with the dish to Barreto. Waddleton to his right. Just seems to always get away from the first defender, Colleen Barreto. Like Strictly Come Dancing out there. I don't know what you call it in this part of the world, but Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars, yeah, Dancing with the Stars. Barreto looking very lively, as you said, dangerous. I mean, GB going backwards there. That's the defense we saw from Uruguay last week, perhaps helped by some of the conditions we saw in LA. But they were bringing line speed, aggressiveness, taking the game and putting the other team on the back foot. And in that passage of play, they were doing that, bringing the line speed, pushing the GB team backwards. GB definitely have taken their foot off the gas in the second half, but this is the Uruguay we saw last week, and I think they need to examine what went wrong, why they just couldn't bring that intensity at the beginning of the first half.
That's an interesting stat. They really struggled in the wet. I know you had some terrible weather down there in Los Angeles last week with the lightning and the hail and the rain. They only got in an opposition 22 12 times all weekend. Extraordinary number, that. I mean, you're not going to score many tries if you're playing at the wrong end of the field pretty much in every game.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and especially with, I mean, a lot of the teams kicked a lot last weekend because of the conditions, so you didn't even need to work your way into the opposition 22, so that's a, yeah, very interesting stat.
Homer. More defense comes in. Homer does well, just back to Barreto. Approaching the final minutes here. Coming up next, Fiji against Kenya. And there is the kicking game from Great Britain. No sweeper for Uruguay, so we might be looking at try number 7 here for the Great Britain Sevens. And Roddick will pick it up and dive under the posts. He might have worn one as he went over there as well, but he's looked good. There's Freddie.
Freddie Roddick with the great individual try, when GB had players queuing up to pick that up at the end. He was wondering when he first kicked it, I think, whether someone else was going to run onto this ball, but it ends up bouncing right in front of him. He's got to call his own number and go the length himself. Has the footballing skills, composure here. I mean, it would be very easy to try and pick up that ball, to overrush this next pickup, but sees he's got his time. He can go in under the posts, under the pressure.
Yeah, Valentin Grille with the chase. Couldn't quite get there in time. He'll convert his own try, Freddie Roddick. Still seconds here to have a restart. And they go with a sneaky one. And Barretto's just picked up a knock there. He's holding the left shoulder. They don't want to lose him. At the end of this game one here on day 1 of 3. Penalty. Great Britain. Yeah, Barretto's back in the line then, the 4 shirt, but still holding that left shoulder. I think they might want to look just to avoid him for the time being. Clock's in the red. They'll try and score more points because you just never know. Points difference can be crucial if you've got 3 teams level in a pool after 3 pool games. Well, that ball's been hacked away and they might just, yeah, they'll dink it over the sideline now. Freddie Roddick, 45-5 will be just enough, and a little concern for Kalim Barretto, the Scotsman, with that left shoulder, but good scoreline, good win for Great Britain.
Yeah, emphatic win for GB. Did a fantastic job, especially in that first half, of just taking an intensity Uruguay that Uruguay didn't seem ready